We have all had our first crush, our first love. We tend to have those butterflies in our stomachs, or we don't. Depends if you actually go through with a relationship. It can be good, it can be bad. Proverbs says, love is a fire, but whether it is warm to your heart or burn down, it's going to warm your heart or burn down your house. You can never tell. The way I see it is, I agree with this quote because of how love has a lesson. Love is also a risk, and love is what you make it. To start off, first of all, love is a lesson. You could have that crush. You could never talk to them, but always look at them from like a side, be like, yeah, I think I like you. It's like, but you never approach them. You approach them once in your life, but you never actually go ahead and be like, hey, you want to go out? Never actually risk it. Love helps you because it will either give you courage to stand up and be like, hey, like, it's not gonna work out. You don't say that to them, but you come out with confidence and you tell them, hey, you want to go out? or it cannot help you at all because it teaches you not to man up, or teaches you to man up. Going on to my second point, love is a risk. Love, you don't really know what's gonna happen. That's why you're always deciding. It's an inner debate whether you should do it or you shouldn't. You constantly do this, makes you at the end not even try. You don't do anything about it, so you didn't risk anything. But what'd you lose? You do it, and then it actually works out, and then you're like, wait, it wasn't as hard, and you learned a lesson about it. Going on to my third point about it is, love is what you make it. You can be like, oh, I like this girl, or you can be like, I love my family, because it works either way. You make it what you needed it. You can make it into an asset. You can make it into your own demise. You can be shy about it. You can stand up to it. Going through this speech, I talked about how love is a fire, but whether it is going to warm your heart, or burn down your house, you never tell. It teaches you a lesson, teaches you to take a risk or not take a risk, and it makes you what you want it to make. And you make it what you want it to. Thank you.
All right, I thought you had a nice common reference as your attention device. You had a little bit of trouble with the topic when you were getting to it, but you recovered adequately so that we knew what it was that the topic actually said. Your point of view needed to be a little bit sharper, but you did have a good preview set up of what the contents are going to be. Organizationally, in the body of the speech, you do a good job signposting as you get to each of those points. I do think that the points need a little bit more development, though. It's like you've got this idea there, but you don't really have a very strong example or illustration of those points. You just have an idea that you talk around a little bit, And it'll be, I tell people this all the time, and I would suspect that you'll be one of those folks. You're going to give a better speech in the car on the way home in a few minutes than you did just now, because you can say, oh, I could have said that. I mean, the structure would be exactly the same, but you're going to think, well, why didn't I say that example, that kind of thing. They're going to occur to you later, and you just need to make sure that they're occurring to you earlier. So I think the contents and the structure stuff is all pretty solid, except maybe there's just a little vagueness with the ideas. Now, the presentation things, most of what you're doing is really solid. There are only a couple of things that are problematic. So your voice is good. I think there's solid variety. The pacing is not always consistent, but there wasn't anything problematic about it. It was noticeable that sometimes that you're going through very smoothly. Sometimes there's a little bit of hesitation. Sometimes there's a little bit of rushing. And it would be nice if it was more consistent. I like the gestures. I thought you had lots of indicators. You seemed forceful. Your facial expressions, you're really animated while you're talking. I like that. You missed the comment that I was making to the previous speaker. You look like you're interested in what you're talking about, and that you're kind of enjoying being up there in front of the audience. And so that, I think, gives the audience a little bit more confidence in what you're doing. The thing that I do see as being a little bit problematic, you've got your right foot back, and the angle of your body is almost sideways. Not quite sideways, but almost sideways through the whole speech. And it's sort of like I've got my left hip thrust forward, and it's almost defiant. It reminds me of those Bushisms that we were talking about the other day, where he kind of gets, puts his arm across his body and kind of knock this battery off my shoulder sort of thing. Let's see what kind of fight we can get into. It's not aggressive, but it just seems like it's, really? Relax a little bit. Talk to us. Turn around, talk to them too. And even though you look over there, it really does look like you're not completely sideways, but you're a little bit of an angle, and that seems odd to me. All right, somebody get Jody in here. Let's finish this up, and you guys go on your spring break. Those of you who don't have class.